Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Ambitious Casual. My name is Rob, and today I am joined by my XP podcast co-host, Adam. How you doing, man?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This is a special video that we're doing because this is not connected to XP or the video game beat or anything like that. It's actually kind of exciting because we're doing a kind of like a recap of the state of play. As we all know, Adam is now a PlayStation boy, and he
Yeah,
is the Ghost of Tsushima, which he actually just finished too. So,
yeah. I would like to say I am once again a PlayStation boy. Uh,
oh, okay, you never left.
Once again. Well, I mean, I left, but I
You were
was.
lost, and now you are found.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Good way to put
All
it.
right. Before we get into there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine things that they covered at the state of play. Um, when we were going in, we kind of knew that they were going to be talking about both PS4 and PS5 games. Um, kind of like updates, and then they did mention new announcements. Um, before we get into everything, what was your expectations for the state of play?
Um, I thought I'd maybe we would hear about one bigger game, like, or at least one more bigger game than what we got. Like, maybe that would be Ratchet and Clank. Seems to be like probably something that's closer than the rest. Like maybe we'd have seen more, but I mean
Yeah.
overall, like I was happy. There were things that I wanted to hear about, and I got to hear about them. So
Yeah. I think what was interesting is that we just got the Nintendo Direct. And if that remind me of anything, because obviously last year was crazy and it wasn't a normal year. It wasn't like we had no E3 and there were state of plays, there were some Nintendo videos, but it just felt odd overall. And so for this being a brand new year, we got our first Nintendo Direct after a year and a half. After watching that Direct, I kind of was reminded, you know what? I need to temper my expectations. And going into the state of play, I was very much so like not expecting a lot. I was just like, you know what? I expected we're just gonna hear everything that we know, maybe one or two new announcements. That's it,
mhm.
tops. So I was not let down by the state of play because I really wasn't expecting too much.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing because I usually overly hype every single time there's a state of play. I think we're gonna get the Metal Gear Solid remake every single time. And one day that will be true, but today was not the day. Starting from the top, we got a little bit of like an inside of Crash Bandicoot 4 gameplay and DualSense support, and it's coming out on March 12th. Um, Adam, did you play Crash Bandicoot 4 or no?
I mean, I haven't yet. I
Okay.
plan on playing it, but it's kind of like one of those things where, oh, that sounds nice. I'd like to do that, but it's like not high on the priority list with all the
Yeah.
other PlayStation games I need to catch up on that I've missed out. So
Yeah.
I look
I
forward to playing it.
I played it. I played it on stream, and I it was fun at the beginning. It was the nostalgia kicked in at the very beginning, but then you can tell as I continued on, I was more so like, man, this game is super hard. It was a lot more harder than I ever remembered the previous being. And
Hmm.
there's so many years in between Crash Bandicoot 4 and me playing Warped when I was a kid. So I don't quite remember all that much, but it was a very difficult game. So am I gonna go back to go check out the new visuals or the DualSense support on this? Not really. Just because I already experienced the game and
Hmm.
I don't the I'm sure the DualSense support, which is the bigger thing, is an added bonus for the experience, but it's not enough for me to want to jump back in.
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me the most, and obviously I haven't played it yet, so but if I had, I feel like the thing that was stuck out to me the most would be the addition of game help. With Crash
Oh yeah,
Bandicoot
yeah, yeah.
being definitely the kind of game that people like to 100%, like having that included would be really nice for the people who are like I are, I guess okay with looking up some stuff. I mean, I did it a little bit for Astro's Playroom when I was getting the platinum for that, and it was a really
Yeah,
nice feature. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I could see that being nice if I went that route for Crash 4.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that. Next we got a little bit of Returnal, and I will say I was neither on the fence or like completely all in on Returnal. I was gonna play it because that's technically like uh the first exclusive game for PlayStation this year.
Mhm.
Um, so I was gonna play it anyways. And watching this new video, it really, really sold me, man. We got to see some gameplay, and then we had a little bit of like a VO synopsis of what the game is gonna be. Some third person action, and then some first person
Yeah.
moments of when the character is in the house. So
Yeah.
where are you on Returnal, Adam?
I haven't had any hype for it. I still don't have any hype for it.
Oh,
Like, I
really?
don't I mean, it just doesn't look like my kind of game. Like, there is
Okay.
kind of like that weird kind of like suspenseful, like mystery aspect of it that I mean, I don't know if this is what they're going for, but like reminds me of games that are probably like Resident Evil, like the newer ones,
Hmm.
or maybe a game that you just played, Rob. I kind of got some medium vibes for the like
Yes.
kind of a creepy atmospheric thing where you don't know quite what's going on, uh, and that's just not my kind of game. But
Yeah.
I mean, looks cool for people who like that stuff. So,
Yeah, like, Returnal is being made by Housemarque, which are known for
hmm
Resogun, and you can tell in the gameplay. Watching that, I can actually see the DNA of Resogun in the gameplay. It's just a third-person action game, just based
hmm
on how the character moves, and then the constant being able to see the bullets float, and that you can know when to dodge and that kind of stuff. But like you said, there is very, very heavy vibes of the medium. There are some very heavy vibes of Control, and then
hmm
obviously the biggest one, which I kind of hated that they did this last year, but there's like a big PT vibe, which is
yeah,
kind of like the first time that we've seen that the the gameplay and everything is done in third person. We're in the back of the character. I forgot her name was oh god, it was like
Celine,
Celine.
was
There we
it
go.
Celine?
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
Celine. Her name is Celine, and we're looking from behind, and it's like kind of it's not really close. Don't think Control. It's like pulled back a little further so that way you have a good idea of your surroundings. And there's a moment where she walks up to a house, and when she walks in, everything turn the camera transitions to first person, and we barely see her move like maybe one step forward, and then that's when the trailer cuts. So you know they're kind of teasing up like, okay, you're gonna have a third person experience, but the moment you get into maybe the story slash weirder aspects of things, it might put you in first person. So I'm excited. I'm all about that weird Control, the medium kind of stuff. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's just something about it grabs me. So I'm very excited for Returnal now. So
yeah.
next, we got a look at Knockout City. We kind of already saw this at the Nintendo Direct showcase. We are seeing it here. Now, they did state specifically a PS4 game. It's going to come to PS5, but it's not like you're going to get a next gen upgrade yet. It's practically backwards compatible play on a PS4 on PS5. Um, and then we're going to get a cross-play beta soon. I didn't see a date on there. I'm guessing it was 2021, obviously, because I know that there's crossplay going on right now, or
Yeah.
there's betas going on right now. But
Yeah.
does Knockout City get you excited at all? Because it's kind of like it's not like a hero shooter, and it's not a battle royale, but it's like this weird mix of them all.
No, it doesn't this one doesn't excite me either. I know this we're getting to a rough start for me, but my opinions about this are kind of similar for the Nintendo Direct is like as long as there's like 2 to 3 games that I want to play, I'm happy with it. And
Yeah.
we haven't gotten to those yet.
No, no, Knockout City. I'm gonna try it out. It's interesting to me. Like it's something that I'll play with my
Yeah.
brothers, like on my Friday streams. But I'm not sure how long people would play this. It's a fun alternative to what we all know in regards to shooters and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It is refreshing. I will give them that,
Yeah.
and it looks fun. But I'm not quite sure how well it's gonna do in just this very, very just there's too many games like it around. So for
Yeah.
you to try to get in, you have to be very different, which they are. It's like dodgeball, but we'll see how that really holds up. Um,
Yeah.
Next, this one really stands out to me a lot. This is kind of like the first new announcement of a game that we've ever seen. It's by Slow Clap, which I've never
Mhm.
heard of this developer before. Um, and it is a brawler beat 'em up, and I put it had rad music, and yes, it did have rad music. And it's called Sifu. Dude, this game, it just it really it really
Yeah.
grabbed me, man. There was something about it that it I don't know if you've ever seen The Raid, but there is a movie, it's a Korean movie, it's called The Raid. And it's a martial arts movie, and it's about you're following the story of this one um officer that's going up this entire like hotel, and he's going up all the floors just beating dudes up like martial arts.
Hmm.
That is the vibe that I got from this, and I love martial arts, and I love like John Wick and that kind of stuff, and I was like, I'm in, I want this.
Yeah. I don't know how to put it this way. Um, I got some like Samurai Jack vibes. I know this guy's not a samurai; he's like a martial artist, but
Yeah,
just kind of that one verse, how many ever, and then like, we eventually saw like the aging of Samurai Jack. When it kind of goes in the future, and
yeah,
just the
yeah,
fact that somehow we're going to be following this guy as he gets old
yeah,
is
yeah.
interesting. I mean, I really like the art style that this is going for. It's kind of like, it's not quite, how do I put it? It's not quite like a painted art style, but it has kind
No,
of like this like kind of filtered effect that looks very
yes,
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool.
I I knew it. I knew it. I saw this. I was like, man, this kind of looks like Absolver, but
Oh yeah, that was their
I
first
don't
game.
know.
I was looking it up
That's
while
the
you were
first
talking
game.
earlier.
That's
Yeah.
I literally just looked it up right now. I was like, man, I'm gonna see who made Absolver. It is these people. Okay, so that makes a whole lot of sense about the whole fighting thing, because Absolver, that's literally what it is. It is like a multiplayer. You go and you fight other people just in this world. You go up to them, you approach them,
Hmm.
you get ready to combat, and then you do martial arts. So that's really dope. If they could
Yeah.
translate that to a just a story based game, I'm all about it. I played Absolver and I loved it. It was really really good. So, man, I'm actually
Yeah.
that just sold it for me even 10 times more. Um, Next we got Solar Ash. Finally, we got to
Yeah.
see some gameplay of Solar Ash. Adam, you
Yeah.
are a big fan of Hyperlight Drifter. So, what were your thoughts on actually finally seeing some gameplay of Solar Ash?
I was very excited to see it. I'm very excited about this game. I get a little worried just how I would describe the traversal seems to be a little slippery,
Hmm.
which isn't necessarily my favorite way to navigate, but I mean, like I'll definitely am excited and going to give this a chance and hope that I love it. I
Right.
don't know. I mean, as someone I haven't played the Pathless. As someone who played the Pathless, I mean, you've played a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It seems to me that there's kind of like the same idea of momentum going in that
Yes.
game. Even if you like this, obviously you don't have to shoot something, in order to move, but kind of that, I don't know, feel of movement seems similar.
It, I literally just played some Pathless, and watching this, I was like, I'm getting Pathless vibes. Just the way, like you said, the momentum, the movement, constantly kind of moving. It looks like it's the big
Hmm.
deal. But the game before this, I mean, like we said, it was Hyperlight Drifter, and
Yeah.
they're going from Hyperlight Drifter to this is, which is, it's not
Mechanically, this is
completely
completely
different.
different game
Yeah.
in just about every way. What's similar is like, to me, is the world building and like the like, I'm guessing they're kind of going more of the environmental storytelling route again. And that was
Yeah.
some of the stuff that was so good about Drifter, on top of, of course, gameplay, was like the world that they built, and just the way they told the story of that world was very cool. And I mean, I'm assuming that they'll do the same thing here. It looks really cool. I really liked what they showed of. I'm assuming it's a boss fight, or it is some kind of
Yeah.
encounter where it's almost like a Shadow of the Colossus type thing, where it's like you're
Yes.
like, it's this big like thing that you have to beat, and it's like a puzzle about how you do it. But I mean, that all gets me very excited. And honestly, there's a little bit of like some of the combat that also made me think a little bit about Blue Fire, which I'm playing right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just in like, when in Blue Fire, they're like, when you're doing combat, there's a way of doing it where you're very much in the air and like floating around and going in and out and stuff like that, and it's very like freedom of movement, and that seems like
Yeah.
it could be a similar thing here, and that's very exciting. So
Yeah. I love the fact that you mentioned Shadow of the Colossus, because the thing with Shadow of the Colossus is that your character is slow, it's realistic to the world that you're in. Like it makes sense for the world. Like you're just a human being. You don't have these superpowers to be running fast or whatever.
Yeah.
So when you are approaching your attack with the colossi, it's very slow and methodical. Not to say that there's not going to be any like strategy to this, but
Mm-hmm.
I think looking at this, I'm like, if this is like a fast paced kind of Shadow of the Colossus, I'm all about that. Especially the fact that you can tell there's a VO over from one of the people that works at Heart Machine, and they're
Yeah.
like, this is their game. This is the game that they've
Yeah.
been wanting to make. So if the fact that they're excited makes me excited. So I'm
Yeah.
100% on board for this one. And it's getting a 2021 release date, no exact date yet, and that's for
Yeah.
PS5 and PS4. So
You know,
uh,
it's crazy. I don't know if you remember this, but I want to say that there was some kind of event. I think it was like a greater like Sony thing, or like that Sony was present at. Maybe it was CES. I don't know where it was, but
mhm.
basically they had like a reel that was showing different, trailers of games that they had coming, and Solar Ash was listed on that. I think with a June release date, and then that got like
Oh,
cut from the
yeah.
yeah, and then that got like cut along with some other. It was like any non first party game that
Yes.
was in that like reel ended up having their date taken off
Yes.
afterwards. So I
Yes.
mean, I because that was in my mind, I was expecting to get a date whenever
Yeah.
they were doing the trailer, and so I that if anything disappointed me in this. It was actually all around dates. The fact that Solar Ash didn't have one, and then another game that we're talking about in a little bit. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. Next we're not gonna talk too much about this, but we got FNAF Security Breach, Five Nights at Freddy's 2021 release date. We all know Five Nights at Freddy's being the game that you sit at the in the office and you look at the cameras and you keep tabs of where the mechanical monsters are at, and then that's practically it. This looks like it's taking more of an approach of like Outlast kind of gameplay style. You're actually inside of like the pizzeria running away from the monsters themselves. So, which is cool. It's different. I will say some of the things that I did see because they showed gameplay, it looked very janky. And I don't know how old FNAF is, but man, there seems like there's a new FNAF every year. Like that that IP is used constantly to make so many different kinds. So I'm not interested in it. I don't think you're interested in this at all, right?
no. I, honestly, the first time I had actually seen any kind of gameplay of any kind for a Five Night at Freddy thing was when they first teased this.
Okay.
When was it? Was that at the Game Awards, or was it further back than that?
For this game?
Yeah, they teased this once already.
Oh, really? I must have missed that.
Yeah, I don't remember when it was,
Mm.
but I was like, okay, I guess maybe I'll actually finally know what this Five Night Freddy's thing is about, other than just seeing Funko Pops in the store with
Yeah.
that are for them. That's the only
Yeah.
like interaction I've had with them.
Well, neither of us are excited for FNAF, so I mean, do not stay tuned if that's the kind of content you want from here. Next, we got some Oddworld Soulstorm. I'm kind of overseeing this. We see this all the time,
Yeah,
and I do not. I don't. This is an IP that's been around before. I've never been interested in it before. If I'm not mistaken, there was a PS2 game of this. Um, I could be wrong. PS2 or PS3, I don't remember. But I remember
I
playing
think
that when
so.
I was younger. I didn't care at all. We just got to see some more of the combat, some more of like what it looks like. We're gonna get an April 6th release, and then PS Plus members will get the PS5 upgrade with no extra cost. Um, it kind of sucks that that needs to be said, especially the fact that we have Xbox on the other hand with their smart delivery automatically just upgrading everything to the next gen. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is what it
and
is, but
honestly, to like get a little bit off topic, that was something I kind of like laughed to myself about
mm,
throughout this state of play was Crash 4's like there's going to be an upgrade option. Go see our blog to find out more. I'm like, that doesn't sound like good news. And then Soulstorm's like, if you're a PS Plus subscriber, you'll get an upgrade for free. And then for Final Fantasy VII, which we'll talk about, it's like, that's just a free upgrade if you already
Yeah.
have it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
someone get on the same page. Like, I understand
Exactly.
like business to business, developer, developer, publisher to publisher, whatever. Like, each person's got to do like what makes sense for them. But the
Yeah.
marketing because of that is pretty terrible.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Next we got to actually see some Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I'm
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this because when I was watching it and they're showing gameplay, I was like, have we not seen this at all? And I'm just surprised that we've gone this long without really saying anything. And it's coming out soonish. It's
Hmm.
interesting because it's coming out a lot later than I thought.
Yeah.
And
Same here.
and because of that, it's like, okay, well, we're getting this date, and we know for a fact this is after Ratchet and Clank. So if this is like the furthest date that they're showing us to a game so far, I just wonder where are the other dates for the games that they didn't give us a release date for?
Yeah.
Or is it just the fact that they're just not ready to say because they just need maybe a month or two to kind of confirm? But either or, Bridge of Spirits, Adam, what did you think of what you saw?
I mean, I love it still. Like, they've shown a little bit before, and they showed, I think, some of the same stuff and more, and it just looks really cool. Like it's, uh, I don't know, it just looks like it's going to be a really fun time, like fun
Yeah,
action, like 3D action, adventure game. It's got really cool like nature vibes.
yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's just going to be a really fun time.
It
So
looks like Studio Ghibli mixed with Pikmin because you have these little like grayish black creatures that just follow you around that look little
yeah,
puffballs, and
yeah.
then I noticed that she was throwing them at some of the enemies that you're fighting.
Yeah, I think they talked about that and maybe the last time they showed it off about them being involved in the gameplay,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Pikmin seems to be like a popular concept to pull from because even Oddworld was showing like some
yeah,
Pikmin like
yeah.
mechanics. So
That is very true. That is very true. I will say the very end of the trailer is where you kind of see like I would assume a boss fight is coming
mhm,
up. I was like the animation and everything about it is so cool and it's very nature oriented. So whenever
mhm,
you're fighting somebody, it looked like that's when it just starts becoming like a storm happens and then it gets scary and I just love the whole atmosphere about it. So
mhm.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Kenna. I'm extremely
Yeah,
excited. And we actually have a release date, which is August 24th.
yeah,
So I don't know if that's going to get delayed or anything like that, but fingers crossed. I hope it sticks that date. Um, and like I said before, it is interesting that that is the date that we have. That is the furthest date we have for any PlayStation game so far. So that only
yeah.
leads me to think like, does that mean Solar Ash or FNAF Security Breach? Can that be before August or can that happen after August? Guess we don't quite know yet until I guess we get there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if PlayStation looks at it and is like, hey, I think what a cool thing is let's keep the release date in our pocket as a surprise for later. I don't know if that's something worth keeping in your back pocket for, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it could just be like as soon as we know for sure, you'll know for sure.
Yeah.
Like it could be that Solar Ash is targeted for June still, but there's like a chance that, for whatever reason, maybe it gets pushed a week,
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
weeks. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not going to count it out, but it doesn't have to be like gloom and doom of, this got delayed 6 months
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't want to tell us yet.
If 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 Cyberpunk has taught us anything, I don't think there's any developers right now that want to rush anything anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see for those dates. We got to see some Deathloop. We actually got to see some more gameplay. I know we saw some last year, and we got to see some more today. And I'm just gonna say it again. Uh, Deathloop looks dope, and I'm so excited about it. It looks like because I know one of the things about the game is you the main objective is you're fighting another player, correct, from around the world.
I don't think that's the objective. Your
Okay,
objective is like you have like X number of like there's a this list of targets that you have to kill in
yeah,
order to stop the loop, but then there is this other character, possibly playable character which can like interrupt your attempt to do so, and then of course if you die you gotta start over.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that's been very like intriguing and to me very unclear since the beginning is like when they first teased it, there was so much emphasis on the back and forth between you and this other
Yeah.
character in the game, which made it
Yeah.
seem like it was like the primary thing was you versus them in this environment, and it wasn't clear what you do after that. But then the further we got, over time, and they've showed more, it's like okay, your main objective is killing all these people, and then this person's also there just messing with you.
Yeah. I think what it's hard to say. I feel like the idea is super super cool. I I will feel so bad for the person that is not able to play Deathloop right now, is able to play it a year after its release, and then
Yeah.
someone who's been playing that game for an entire year invades their space and is just knocking people out, you know?
I,
Like the,
after Dark Souls, I have no sympathy for that anymore. I'm like, this is just the way of the world. Is that this is going to happen?
that is very true. That is very true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm excited for it. Are you planning on playing it?
I don't know. I'm honestly more interested in going back and playing Dishonored 2, which is
Mm.
by the same developer. And it seems to share like a good deal of like the same DNA.
Oh yeah,
But I'm definitely more interested in that game. I started it when I was trying out Game Pass, and I'm like, this is cool. And then I just like didn't get back to it.
yeah,
So
yeah. Arcane is amazing. I mean, I played Dishonored 1 and I played Dishonored 2. They know how to make a great game. So I'm just as excited for Deathloop as well. And it's very different. It's very, very different from Dishonored in regards to just the atmosphere and just the look and everything. It's not the same at all. So I'm very excited for that one. And we didn't get a release date either. 2021 is all we got. So we'll see. And lastly, to finish off the entire state of play, we've got news about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Intergrade is what they're calling it. Coming to PS5 as a PS5 upgrade. If you already own Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can get a free upgrade to PS5. No extra fee at all. And then along with this, we got to see some cinematics, some upgraded visuals, some frame rate, fast load times, photo mode, and then a new episode with Yuffie. If you're gonna ask me what does that mean, I have no idea because I have not played Final Fantasy VII yet. I've actually, I've for this exact reason waited for a PS5 like upgrade, and now that they're
uh,
giving it to us, I'm gonna play it this year.
I believe it is Yuffie.
Oh, my bad, dude. I apologize. You know what? Hey guys, it was nice knowing you. It's time for me to leave. I'm not a gamer anymore.
Yep.
Are you?
Austin and I are taking over.
Yeah, they're taking over here. They own the URL and everything. Do you never played Final Fantasy VII? Have you?
No, I haven't. The closest thing I've gotten to Final Fantasy VII is playing Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, yes, yes. You're right. You're right. You're right.
That's the closest I've gotten to it. Yeah.
I think what was funny is the fact that they were showing off, and there were some moments where it actually made sense, but they were showing off the upgraded visuals, and there was a moment where I think his name is Barrett turns around and he calls for Cloud, and that's like the very intro of the game, and Cloud flips over the train and he shows up right there, and then
Mhm.
the screen like cracked, and he was practically showing he was practically showing the upgraded PS5 version, and I was like,
Right.
I don't see anything different. And it wasn't really that different.
I saw it a couple times, and maybe of the like 10 things they showed, there's like 3 things where I was like a difference, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that looks better. Oh yeah, that looks better. And then they showed the fog effect. I'm like, that looks awful. Why would I want that over what they had before?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, because they had the fog effect side by side, and you can see down the entire tunnel. This fog effect, I was like, you can barely see 2 feet in front of you. I don't understand if they were like, man, guys, we really cannot put this fog in this game, just remove it. If that's their intention, or they're overdoing the fog or something like that.
It's like, remember when you wanted a better, computer so you can increase your render distance? What if we just went the other way? What if you got a better, PlayStation so you could decrease the render distance? Next level gaming
For
right
real.
there.
and then boom, they just sold another $60 copy.
Yeah, another
The frame rate really does make a difference, though. I did see a difference in that, especially
yeah.
in regards to the background. There was not a lot of screen tearing or anything like that. It was just completely smooth. Now this new episode with Yuffie, I don't know where that fits in the canon of the video game. I would like to know, anyone who's watching, let me know in the comments down below. I don't know if that it was is that originally in the original Final Fantasy VII, because as far as I know, Final Fantasy VII Remake only covers like a third of the original game. So I don't know if this is probably a section from that full game that they're just pulling to just kind of give an added bonus for people to jump back into it. I don't know. But like I said before, I'm extremely excited for this. I was actually already planning on playing Final Fantasy VII this year. I was holding out just in case if they came out with an upgraded version. Thank God they are, and I'm gonna jump in on the PS5 and play that. Maybe I don't know, in June 10th. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in June.
Yeah.
Adam, do you have any final thoughts or any last words about the state of play?
I will say, when they're showing off Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, I thought this was like the next part. I was like, oh, it's cool. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's coming out in June?
Yeah.
Wow. I will say, like, my daughter was using me as her personal jungle gym, like right when this announcement was going on, so I wasn't like fully paying attention. But and then later it was like, oh, like they did the date, and then they showed like the thing about upgrading. I'm like, oh, and they're doing like the upgraded version, wow, of the original. Like,
Wow,
that's
Square Enix is
incredible.
they're so kind. No,
What
I'm
a
pretty
great
sure
announcement.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably thought for a second it was probably like the next piece. I to those who
Yeah.
really follow to those who follow it though, they always are talking about, man, this is like far away. Like the developers seem like they never seem like they really want to make it, because they're like, oh, there's so much work that goes into this that you might not see for a while.
They're complaining about it terribly all the
They are
time.
all the time. I actually, it's cool that we got this. I was kind of hoping that we saw Final Fantasy 16, which we're gonna see it eventually, and I'm really excited for that one more so. But what this does put into question is that if this is coming out in June, there's no way that they're gonna put this out in June and then 2 months later, Final Fantasy 16. So I can only imagine Final Fantasy 16 either being a fall release, and that's you having to navigate like Horizon, the new Call of Duty. I'm pretty sure Halo Infinite, like trying to figure that out. So as of right now, either we get Final Fantasy 16 at the end of this year, possibly like November, December, or it just gets pushed to next year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll push it, but I don't know. These Final Fantasy games are humongous, and they put a lot of
Yeah.
time into them. So
Yeah. I wonder a lot how much Sony takes into consideration for those kind of announcements. The PS5 shortage, we'll say right now, right?
Yeah,
And the scalper problem. It's like, because they're already, I think, pushing a lot more games maybe to PS4 than they would have liked. And maybe we're getting some delays because of that. But then I also think they're maybe wanting there to be more good news on the stock front of things, the PS5 stock, before they start announcing more or showing more of these PS5 exclusives.
that is
Like,
very true.
they want people to be excited about these games and excited that whether they're on a PS4 or PS5, they're going to be able to play them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how much that came into play with this. Maybe they would have announced the same games either way, but
yeah.
maybe.
I will say my final thoughts on all of it. The state of play, it was what I expected. I wasn't being too hopeful about anything. It is the first one of the year. I know for a fact they'll come out with more. I will say, kind of going off a little bit, just to end this all off off of what you're saying. They are putting out the games that you can see on this list. There's a lot that say PS5, PS4, PS5, PS4, PS5, PS4. I will say the first two games that we know that are PS5 exclusive right now are only Ratchet and Clank and Returnal. And I'm a little scared for Housemarque, because I don't think it matters how many PS5s are out there. Ratchet and Clank is going to live on throughout the years. Like 3 years later, people are going to still buy Ratchet and Clank. I'm kind of hoping Housemarque delivers on Returnal because they're such a great studio. And this is kind of like their first departure off of what they're known for making. And I would
Mhm.
hate for them to put this out there in a market of there barely being any PS5s out there, which is not true. They sold a lot, but not a lot of people had their hands on them. Who knows how many of those PS5s are still in scalpers' garages waiting to be sold at like high prices.
Yeah.
And so I would hate for this game to flop and then they feel like they have to go back to something else, you know? So,
Yeah, I feel like they got to know that though. Like maybe like it'll release now. Maybe it doesn't do great because there's not a lot of PS5s, but maybe when there's more PS5s, they'll get added to PlayStation Plus
mm,
and they'll
good
get
point.
like a kind of then get a better idea of how much people like the game or not.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us here on this recap of the PlayStation State of Play. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Everything in regards to Adam's socials, you can find them down in the bio. And then everything regarding me, Rob, you can find it down there as well. If you want to keep up to all the news and when new videos are coming out regarding Ambitious Casual, follow us on Twitter at Ambitious Casual. And then I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ambitious Casual over there, Tuesday through Friday, 8 p.m. Guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned. I'm hoping that we see something from Xbox now. I mean, we've got something from Nintendo, we got something from PlayStation. Now I'm kind of like, okay, Xbox, what do you got for us? I want to see something. And then as the year goes on, trying to figure out what does the summer look like because it doesn't look like E3 is gonna try. I don't think they're gonna deliver, and I think everything is on the hands of Jeff Keighley and Summer Games Fest. So this is kind of like giving me that a little bit of like excitement of news of games and announcements, which I always love. So stay tuned for that, guys, here on Ambitious Casual. Until next time, peace out.
So yeah.